Hey, what's up friends? Welcome back to the channel, or hello if you're new. Welcome to another weekly writing vlog. This week we are tackling the revisions of Project Spellrunner, which was my NaNoWriMo 2022 project. So I am about to dive into rereading chapter 1. I already have like some pretty good ideas that I think will help fix the plot because I know we're gonna need to do a lot of rewriting. So I'm going to take you through setting up like kind of my revision tools and that sort of thing. I've never revised anything before, so this is all new to me. So before we get started, leave your best revision tips in the comments because I'm going to need them. And let's get into the revision vlog. Over the weekend, I went to Staples and got it printed out and just put it in a binder because this is the first draft. It's really rough. It's not even like, there's a lot of brackets. There's a lot of telling in this. So I just got it printed off like this instead of bound because I figured this would be easier to read. So I'm gonna dive in to chapter 1 right now. I'm just gonna read it. I'm not gonna take any notes. I'm just gonna read it and then see what my little brain works out from there. The one thing that I am planning on doing, excuse the mess back there, it's still moving. The one thing that I am planning on doing is doing a reverse outline. So as I read, I'm going to take notes about everything that happened, not as I read, but after I read a chapter, I'm going to go into a brand new document, lay out everything that happened in that chapter. That way I can have a bird's eye view of what's going on in the story and then formulate my revision plan from there. So cheers, let's do it. Okay, so I just finished chapter 1 and honestly, not as bad as I was expecting. I know it's gonna get worse. But chapter 1, I was really proud of chapter 1 when I wrote it, and I am still feeling pretty good about chapter 1. And the best part is that even though I think there's gonna be some plot changes, I think there's a lot from this chapter that I can use in my rewrite in draft 2. So I'm pretty impressed. There were a couple of lines that I thought were really, really great. And I was like, wow, I wrote that. And then also something that I feel is new for me in this writing compared to the things that I've written previously is I feel like I can sense my voice, my writing voice starting to develop. There were a couple very distinct sections of this where I was like, that really sounds like a unique, you know, like that really sounds like my writing, like how I envision my writing to be, like what I want it to be. So right now I'm feeling pretty confident, which is not what I was expecting going into this because I know this draft needs a lot of work, but compared to my NaNoWriMo 2021 project, the writing, I can see how much I improved in a year. So that's just a little goal motivational thing for you, is to keep writing because you will get better. So it's about time for me to hop into work. So I'm going to quickly note down everything that happened in this chapter so that I have it for my reverse outline, and then do a little bit of brainstorming. Probably not, maybe just write down a couple of notes, and yeah, that's our writing for today. Hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit more done later. day 2 of my reread of Project Spellrunner, my NaNoWriMo novel, and I just got to chapter 4, and so far, honestly, I've got a lot to work with in the first couple of chapters. I definitely think the plot has to change, but I think a lot of the writing that I did in these initial setup chapters can still be worked in to the new plot. Basically, the plot has to change because I didn't really understand who my character was and what her character arc was supposed to be, and so in order to make, it's because when I outlined I didn't know what the ending was. Now that I know what the ending is, in order to make that arc more impactful, I need to rework some things, which includes probably switching who my main character is in the story, because I have a secondary character who is much better, has better main character energy. So yeah, I still have some things to work out, obviously, but I'm trying not to think too much about plotting right now, because right now we're just supposed to be focusing on rereading. But I did take a couple notes on chapters 1 and 2, so that I can kind of start brainstorming how to work those into a new plot, figure out what the new plot is going to be. I also think that the setting is wrong. My original idea for this story was a much more sort of dystopian vibe than this like whimsical fantasy world that I ended up building. So that's a problem that I'm gonna have to resolve in revisions, because the setting just like isn't working for what this really is. It's supposed to be like gritty and you know, it's a race to the death, and I have it set in this like whimsical, fantastical place, and it's just, there's a disconnect there, and it is very jarring. And yeah, I need to fix that. It needs to be less, I don't have a reference, but it needs to be like less Studio Ghibli and more Hunger Games vibes, basically. So yeah, that's where we're at this morning. Going to hop into work. Hopefully I get some more time to work on this tonight. I'm solo parenting this week, so it has been a chaotic week already, and I was just so exhausted last night that I just got in bed and watched YouTube videos until I fell asleep. Actually, I read a little bit. I read Crown of Midnight for a little bit, and then I got into bed because I was just so tired and like my brain was not gonna focus on anything. I also recently started my full-time work hours, so that's been an adjustment, and yeah, taking a lot of my mental energy. But hopefully, I'm feeling really, really good about the writing so far. I know it's gonna get worse, and I'm waiting for it. I'm assuming around like chapter 5, 6. I need to look and see where I was writing this, because at some point we got the stomach bug in these beginning chapters, and I'm assuming that's where everything kind of went downhill. So we will see where that happens. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. I made it to chapter am I on? 6. I finally found some chapters that are totally just like, I'm gonna have to scrap them. Not because they're terrible, although one of them, you could definitely tell that I was writing it when I was not feeling good. But because they're not going to fit the new outline. Unless I can figure out a way to make this work. But yeah, so out of 6 chapters, I'm pretty much gonna have to scrap 3.5 so far. I think there are pieces, like chapter 5, there's definitely like 1 or 2 lines that I can pull out and use. Chapter 6, about half of it, I think is usable. But yeah, we've definitely got a lot of work ahead of us. My goal is to have this finished in a couple of days, maybe by the end of the week. I gave myself until the 10th to work on Spellrunner, but I realized that I didn't give myself any time to actually re-outline it before Camp Nano in April, because I'm hoping to work on this for Camp Nano. So I have 25 chapters to get through, and I'm on chapter 6. Although the end chapters are very short, so I know that I'm going to be able, they're more of like zero draft outline style. So I know I can get through this quickly, but I'm going to have to like really focus on this because I do want to be able to at least attempt to outline this, but it's going to need a lot of work. And like I said, I think I'm changing it from a whimsical fantasy to more of like a gritty dystopian fantasy, which I think is a really interesting concept. So that's where we're at with revisions. In other news, this morning I actually did a lot of work on episode 1 of We Were Legends, When We Were Legends. I'm working on outlining the first season, and I really want to focus on my outlines being a solid, like, zero draft, essentially. Basically, I want to have no questions, like, no, like, I want to know everything that's supposed to happen in each episode before I sit down to write it, so doing pretty good there. I'm really happy with how episode 1 is turning out, so yeah, that's your update for this morning. Happy Friday. Don't mind my office chair in the back there. I got a new desk chair. I'm also a little under the weather, so if I sound disgusting, that's why. It is Friday, so cheers. We made it through another week. I am on chapter 13 of 25, I believe. Yeah, 25. And I am becoming increasingly more frustrated with my inability to figure out the plot of this story. Yeah, let me know. Let me know if you experience this as well, but the more that I read, the more I am frustrated by adding in details that didn't exist before, or completely changing things in the middle of writing that weren't part of the outline. And I think I know this about myself, is that part of this is because my outlining process is not thorough enough. But
I'm not sure I understand.
Shut up, Siri. But yeah, I don't know how to make this plot work. There is something about it that is not working, not clicking. I don't know if I need to like go back to the drawing board with the characters, if I need to just scrap this idea entirely and start over. I think that's a problem for future me to figure out. Right now, I am just focusing on reading this draft. I've been thinking a lot lately about the saying that writing is rewriting, and I just wonder, like, how many people, I can't be the only person that, like, writes something, then realize that there's, like, total parts of the plot that just completely do not work, and have to rewrite it. Like, I don't even know how many words I'm gonna be able to, like, salvage from this. I don't think I'll be doing any, like, copying pasting when I'm rewriting. I think it will completely, line for line, be rewritten. But first I have to finish reading it, and then I have to figure out the plot. So that's where we are today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are having a fantastic week as well. Let me know how your writing projects are going in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.
So when you're leaving tomorrow,